long tail cast on. So to do this you want a long tail, make a little slip knot. I'm going to put that into our needle and tighten up. You want the tail in front of you and the working yarn behind. Now I'm going to use metal needles. If you are a beginner, I do recommend bamboo just because it's less slip and slide, I guess you could say. Metal needles tend to be a lot slippier to work on, which is why I like them, but if you're beginning, I'd probably recommend the bamboo. So, pincers between the two, split them, grab them below. Now, one saw this girl, she said it's like a slingshot, so pull it back. I wish I could remember her name to give her a shout out, but I'm sorry I don't. We're going to pick up the one in front, then the one from the finger, pull it through that loop, and then pull down. We've got 2 stitches, so fingers go in like pincers, grab the bottom, slingshot back. We're going to pick up this stitch and then the one in front of the finger stitch. So pick up the one in front of the thumb, go around the back and pick up in front of the finger, and then on your thumb you've got a loop and you put the point of your needle through the loop, drop, and then pull tight. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes, just becomes second nature. This is a very basic way of teaching this. There's so many YouTube videos you'll be able to find that will teach you how to do this method of cast on. It is called the long tail cast on method, but that's essentially it. So cast on 48. Okay, so 48 stitches on. It's left with a bit of an excess, it's fine. It's better than having not enough. And if you do run out, then you just have to undo it and start again. I've been there many times. In fact, I just was. So don't worry, it happens. I know there's ways that you calculate how much, but sometimes you make a guess and start again. That's fine. So anyway, got our stitches, so we're going to start on our first row. Our first row is a knit 2. So we'll knit 2. Bringing the yarn to the front and purl 2. And we will repeat the knit 2, purl 2 8 times, so that should be 32 stitches. And that will be across to the rib, and then once we've done that 8 times, the next few stitches will be the beginnings of the owl. So the owl gets started right from the get-go. We'll get this knitted, knit 2, purl 2, 8 times. Okay, now we come to the start of the owl. We're at the start of the owl, so to do that, you'll see on the pattern, for this row we're going to knit 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to purl 8, I've changed styles of knitting. I know I was doing it the English way a moment ago, and now I'm on the continental. Again, the other way is just easier when you're beginning. But I find this method just a little bit faster. So, anyway, so we've purled 8, now we're going to knit 3 and finish with purling the last 2. Oops, making a really loud banging sound. Sorry, that's my needle hitting my tripod. Talk about a raw video. Okay, so first row is now done. Now those are going to be your bases for pretty much the rest of the pattern. You should be able to tell which are your knit stitches if you get up close here, you should be able to see the knit stitches, and then the purl stitches have like the loop on the front, and the knit stitches don't. They have like an upside down V. No, it's not an upside down, it's an actual V. So yes, you should be able to tell between the two stitches, and that gives you a good base. At least you should be able to know which stitch you are on, other than there's a couple of different ones within the owl and the cabling, but it gives you a good base. You know where to begin at least. So the next row we're going to go backwards. So we're going to start with the knit 2, purl 3, knit 8, purl 3, and then knit, purl, undo the 2x2 rib all the way back to the other side. Okay, so I completed row 2 and then went back and did row 3, which was the same as row 1, and now I'm on to row 4, which has the cables. So I went ahead and started. I did my knit 2, purl 3 as per the pattern, and now we're going to cable. So for this cable I'm going to use this cable hook, and I'm just going to take 2. This is fiddly. So I'm going to take those 2 stitches. If you're new, just push those stitches way onto your needle, so at least then that's easy. So let's lay it down, it'll be easier to see. I'm going to put 1, 2 onto my cable hook. Now this is cable 4 in the back. So 4 is the total amount of stitches we're going to be cabling. So it's 2, and then I'm going to be knitting 2. And the back means this hook will stay in the back while I knit the other 2, and then we'll be knitting those. If it said the front, which I'll show you, it goes in the front. So make sure that you can get this yarn isn't tangled in behind your hook. That needs to be in front of your hook. It's fiddly when you're showing people. We're going to knit 2, push those needles back down on there. Now we're going to knit off this. The biggest takeaway I have is make sure that these stitches don't get twisted. So make sure that they're in the same order. They're not twisted around or anything. So they're in the same order there. So this needle can get put aside. And I'm going to knit these 2 stitches. Again, you want to make sure that your yarn is in the right place. So let's just double check that my yarn, see, you can see it got tangled in the back, and I could see that. So this needs to get put around the back. See, it's very easy, happens. Needle goes in, and we're going to knit. This is why I say bamboo needles are easier than the metal ones, are a bit slippy. We're going to knit these 2. Like that. Okay, so that's 1 cable down. Okay, so now we're cabling in the front. 2 needles onto the cable needle, this time held in the front. This one is a lot easier, I find, because it's not as in the way. So we'll knit 2, like so. Okay, push those needles down, those stitches down onto that needle. We're going to take these 2 stitches, again making sure that they're not twisted, and we're going to knit these 2. And there we have it. That's pretty much as complicated as the cable gets for this pattern. We'll be repeating that twice more throughout, but it's just cabling 4 stitches in total. So there's the 4, 2 on the cable needle, 2 that we knit. So yeah, so we're going to carry on with the pattern. So purl 3. Now we've done 3 rows of knit 2, purl 2, rib. Now we're just going to go straight to the knit. So just knit all the way along and then purl all the way back, and then we'll carry on with the pattern. Okay, so I'm finished now, and I'm at the end of row 5, and now we're going to be casting on some stitches. So take your needle, turn it around, and we're going to be using a different cast on method for this one. So we're actually going to be doing a knit cast on method. This is actually the first cast on method I learnt as a kid. Kind of nice, this part, and you get to learn lots of different techniques. Okay, so knit is if you're going to knit. Okay, so knit like you're going to knit. We're going to go into the back, yarn over. Now when we pull through, instead of pulling this stitch on, we're going to leave it. What we're going to do is put this stitch onto this left hand needle. So around the back, get the loop and take it off. So we'll do it again. So into that new stitch, around, pull it through, and take your left hand needle going around the back, grabbing onto that stitch. Can you see? Pulling it off. So once more, in, around, pull through, and take the stitch off that needle. So we're going to do that 8 times. Okay, so now I'm on to row 8. We're going to do a buttonhole. So I'll show you how I saw how to do this awesome buttonhole. So change this over to make it easy for showing. Go this way. So to begin, bring the yarn between your 2 needles to the front, like so. Then we're going to take this first stitch and we're going to put it onto the right stitch, and we're going to slip this stitch what we call purlwise. So this means you go in as if you're going to purl. If you're going to slip knitwise, you'd go into knit. So I'm going to do purl. So we pull that stitch off just like that to this needle. Now we're going to take our yarn and put it to the back. I'm going to locking that there. So done that. Now we're going to take the next stitch and again do the same, slip it. Now this is what we're going to do. We're going to do as if we're going to bind off. So this is how you bind off. You would knit 2 usually, and then you'll take this stitch and we're going to pass it over this stitch off the end and drop it, and that is binding off. So I'm going to slip the next stitch. We're going to repeat it a couple more times. So again, taking this stitch and slipping it over this stitch. 2, 1 more. It's the same idea as binding off, where you're pulling the stitch over. Okay, so now we have those stitches. So this is the makings of our buttonhole. Okay, so we're going to take this last slip and we're actually going to put it back over onto that needle, just like so. Now we're going to turn our work. I have the yarn in the back for this. So we've turned our work, ready to go. So now we're going to cast on yet another way. So this is your 3rd way on how to do cast-ons. Okay, so for the cable cast on method, this is clear, there we go. We're going to go 2 between these 2 stitches, yarn in the back, yarn over and pull through, and then we're going to take our needle and grab that stitch like we would for the other knit cast on method and put that on that needle. And then we're going to repeat this 4 times. So we now have this stitch and this stitch. We're going to go between the 2, going out the back, wrap it around, pull it through, and then grab this from the right to the left and put it on the needle. So that's 2 stitches. Three, and last one, 4. So we now have 4 brand new stitches. So on this side we knit our 3 originals, we've got 4 cast-ons, that's 7. Okay, so now we're going to link the 2 together. So again, we're going to turn the work like so, leaving the yarn in the front, and we're going to take the slip stitch from the left needle back onto the right like we slipped earlier, and then we're going to take this stitch the fourth one, and we're going to pull it over the top of that stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We still have 7 stitches there, and then we're going to put the yarn to the back and then just carry on with the pattern. And then what you should have inside here is a buttonhole, just like that. Okay, so carry on your knit pattern, following it all the way through until you've cast it off, and then I'll come back to this other one. So you'll have 2 more cables to do, so watch the pattern for that. There is also a change where you, instead of the knitting or purling of the 8, you will be doing either a knit or purl 1. It'll be a 1, a 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, and then into the 3. So that's the only difference that you'll have in there. And then you'll also have some 3 rows of cabling at the end. But those are the stitches that you really need to know for this pattern, so you can carry on with the rest, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so I finished off the mug cozy. You can see the shape of the owl in here. We had the second rib going in, and then I just did a bind off. If you can bind off with the stitches, I prefer it that way. So when you see the purl, you'll purl stitch and then just bind it off and knit stitch. It's very easy to do, and the same with the owl, but if you struggle with it, if you're a beginner, then just do a knit and bind off with that. That's no problem. So now that we've got our mug cozy, we get to choose the buttons. Now, like I said before, there's different options. You can mix and match and have some contrast, or if you want something a little bit more, these ones aren't sewn on yet, but you can kind of see, you can just do something that is a little bit more subtle, blending in with the cozy. So I've got a brown button here, make it a little bit more neutral. Now also you can see this guy is folding up. You can block them if you want to. I mean, by the time it goes around a mug and is stretched and warmed up with a hot drink, I find it's fine. But if you are giving them as gifts and you want them to look nice, then you can block these out and just make sure that they lay flat. So with this guy, there was a couple of options for the eyes. I could go contrasting with some brown and have contrasting eyes with the brown eyes, or let's have a look in my button tin. Let's see what I have. Not sure where the other one went, but I do have these little, see, they're even harder to see on the camera, these little flowers, and those would be, obviously you can't really see that, so it's a very, very neutral button that would just add a little bit of detail. I think I'll go for the brown just because I want some contrasting eyes on this one. I like the brown eyes. And then for the button, because I've contrasted eyes, I might do the contrast button. But again, if you want something neutral, I could have gone for a cream button. That's the nice thing I have. When you have a tin of buttons, you've got lots to choose from and play about with them. So you'll go ahead and sew the eyes on with a you can use a contrasting thread or a thread that will blend with the same, so a brown thread for that, and then I'd use a green, or I could use the brown thread again for the green button. For the fastening button, what I tend to like to do is take the mug that I plan to use, or a generic size mug that you may have, and we're just going to take our mug cozy and wrap it around. Stretch it around a bit. Get it positioned in place, roughly, and then just kind of gauge where that button would be. So I can kind of use my finger to kind of gauge that I want the button to be there. And then finding the center, and then we'll place my button and sew it there. So that when it's all done, I'm going to wrap it around Fasten on the mug cozy there. And there we have it. A cute owl mug cozy with your button fastener. Super simple, nice easy pattern, great for gifts. You could put this together with a hot chocolate bundle maybe, some marshmallows, hot chocolate, a really cute mug, your owl cozy, and it makes a really cute little gift. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this pattern, and we'll see you for another one.